Welcome everyone. Welcome to the Python Guy AppsCon 2023. And now we'll see in this session, can I develop a robust desktop application that uses Python? Or can I use Python to a robust desktop application? Well, a little bit about me. I am Dion Mai, Aquasoft Chief Technologist. Aquasoft is a outsource company located in Brazil, and we work with many technologies here, including Python, Delphi, C Sharp, Java. So I will bring a little bit of that experience of working many different projects with many sizes and different programming languages to show you how can we use Python in robust desktop applications. Okay, I am also an Embarcadero MVP, and in this session we will see how to use Python in robust desktop applications and features that usually are needed in robust desktop applications. So, how to use Python? If you need a robust desktop application, maybe it's very challenging if you only use Python, because Python in large applications can generate very large executable files. Python sometimes has some troubles with memory consumption, as well as speed of processing. And other feature that always troubles me when I working with Python in desktop application is that usually it's very hard to create a good visual approach to applications writing in Python. Okay, and many features are considered standard when you are talking about desktop applications, and implement that features on Python sometimes take a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of packages that you have to manage, install, and deploy. Uh, so how can we implement these features fast enough? Don't have to worry about many different packages and many different environments, and sometimes only to cover the simple features, the main features that a desktop application needed. We have a lot uh, of hard time doing that in Python. But Python is a fantastic programming language, and you don't have to leave it behind. Some companies that work it with us here in Aquasoft sometimes tell me that they wanted to leave Python behind because there are so many troubles rewriting functionalities in Python, and they instead of keeping dealing with that complexity, they prefer to change the programming language. And I usually say that it's not a good option because Python is fantastic. Python is a very incredible programming language with unique features, okay? And many features that we have in Python are not usually portable to other programming languages, okay? So I will encourage you to not left Python behind, and we will see how can we use Python instead of let it behind or translate Python to new language. We can still use it Python, but integrated with some solution. Okay, so for me, many analogies are good to clarify the difference between programming languages, but the toolbox analogy is a very good one. Once we have a great toolbox, and in that toolbox each programming language are a different tool, so each programming language can fit better in specific situations and specific problems. So we don't have a program that solves all our problems. Okay, we don't have that magic programming language. We have many different tools with many great uh, many great uh, good characteristics and some bad characteristics as well. But if you know all the tools that you have, you can choose very carefully and always use the best of both, or all the size, all the language that you wanted. And for this solution, I will show you how we can integrate Python here with Delphi. And why Delphi? Delphi is largely used to build desktop applications. Okay, many companies around the world, and Delphi is focused on productivity. Okay, and many desktop features are already implemented inside Delphi, so we don't have to worry with third-party components, with compatibilization with other APIs or other libraries. No, we don't have to worry with none of that uh, situations. We just use Delphi, and of course, we don't have to left Python behind. We will integrate it Delphi with Python, and we can still use our Python code, but all the features that a desktop application needed can be implemented with Delphi. So Delphi will fill that gap that may Python have. Okay, I know Python, as I told you before, Python has all the tools. We can only with Python solve all the features that I will show you here, but with Delphi, we can solve that problems very fast and very simple. Okay, and maybe solve it in a way that you don't have to, in some time, get struggle only with Python, right? So we can integrate these two powerful languages, each of those with great capabilities, great qualities, and for that we use this. Python for Delphi solution is a free solution. Of course, Delphi is not free, but Python for solution is free. I can integrate it with our Delphi IDE, and inside of that, we can write, we can integrate our source in Python inside a Delphi application. So all the background visual architecture will be provided by Delphi, and all our scripts, all our Python solutions that we have can be integrated in that executable file by Python, by Delphi. Okay, and it's very simple to install. I will not go through all the installation topics because it's very simple once you follow the installation manual. We'll focus more and show you how to use these tools, and more in what are the desktop main features that a desktop application will need it. So, for you that don't know Delphi, Delphi is this IDE here. I can even save and close this project to show you. Okay, this is the Delphi IDE, and I will open this sample that I will show you here. As you can see, all are visual. So we have a rapid application development environment. So all are accessed by mouse here. We can even put some components uh, by typing and moving by mouse, and it's very drag and drop environment, so very simple to use at start for people who are learning. Is very simple, very intuitive. So Delphi has a RAD environment, and Delphi can provide rich visual applications. As you can see, all the application have images, and we can put images, and even with those images, when I run the application is still running very fast. Okay, I can have data, have buttons here, and applications are still very fast to use. And we have multi-database integration as a native solution. I have here a very complex database structure. Of course, these samples are based on Delphi samples, okay, are Delphi integrated sample, but I choose this sample because it's very similar that what we use in usually large RP or large desktop systems, okay, and I separate some simple connection here to show you with this little tool here that in the file we call component. I just put here a connection and I can choose between many databases available here. And once I choose some database, even Mongo, I can just put here the database connection configurations, and I will be able to use this connection inside my application, even with SQL, okay, or without SQL in Mongo case. But for relational databases, we can use SQL, very simple with these components. And we also have the visual option to use uh, non-stored data. We can use in-memory data, and also it's very simple to use. I can just create here a structure of some data set, and after that I be able to save that or to JSON or save to file or send to some API. Very simple, very intuitive, and mostly drag and drop. Okay, so robust desktop applications usually requires rapid application development, rich visual applications, multi-database, and also themes. Okay, sometimes themes are interesting, and in Delphi we have native support to themes here. I can put my application to darkness, I can put to iceberg, and I don't have to write a lot of code to do that. The simple you can see is very easy to implement, and these executable file are not large, are very small considered to uh, the large amount of themes and visual information that we have here. It's a very small executable file. Okay, so Delphi have native support to themes, and other features that we have, as I told you, the use of images, and the new versions of Delphi have even the support of images with many sizes, so we can deal with DPI resolution from visual applications to deal with different monitor resolutions, monitor sizes, and as well as the zoom feature in Win 10 or Win 11. And Delphi will deal with that automatically. We just have to input here all the image sizes, and on runtime, Delphi will deal with that. We don't have to write any line of code to deal of different resolutions type. Okay, and also Delphi has the image components. We can just put all image information, all the usually features of our system can be labeled as images, and that will make more intuitively for the user when they are working with images and not with only text. Okay, even in Delphi we have all the commands here with simple images, and make it very fast for us, very usable the system. Okay, so Delphi has the native integration with images, and as I told you, everything in Delphi can be or maybe will be some component, okay? Some just little boxes here that we can move around and do things. Even and when we are talking about try icons, I just put here a try icon component and configure it, and after that my application will be able to show here in the try system bar. Okay, and many of other uh, features of functionalities we have just simple as that. We can just drag and drop in our applications, configure that with some clicks, and it's done. Okay, I know I already have done some try icons in Python. I know that it can be done there, but it's more complex, takes WinTry integrations, and I have to do all the integration by code, even the icon loads, even the icon configurations. And here I just have to drop some file and put on my application. Okay, uh, many as even the simple component applications like status bar, I have just to put here, and it will be seen, it will be available in my application. I just put some panel text on that status bar, and user will instantly can be seen, can interact with that component. Okay, we have also component actions. We have this guy here, actions, and where we can integrate many visual structure visual um, functionalities of our applications and deal with all these actions in one single place. Okay, so this is very good for you to have some access control, usually feature that we have to implement in some robust, some large desktop applications. Usually you will have to have some access control, and with this action list is the job is very simple to do. Okay, because this action will manage many buttons, many pop-up, many menus, events, all integrated in only one visual representation. And once you disable that, all the events linked to that action will be automatically disabled. So it's very productive, very simple to use, and very easy to manage in runtime, even through the source code. Okay, so Delphi has action components, and very simple to do modal or MDI application. MDI is where we have all the windows inside integrated in our applications, and modal is when we have like this login window here. I cannot access the behind application until I have done the login phase here, right? So I will forcefully be authenticated to pass through to go to my application. And of course, I know we can show many windows in Python as well. We can put some modal forms showing in Python, but again, that may take you a lot of effort, a lot of work to deal with all the complexities to show some window, put that on front screen. Okay, in Delphi we have just, let me show you the source code. This tree code here can manage to show some modal form or instantiate other window, and the login form is here. Also very simple to build, only some components, images, and the window is ready, is done. Okay. We can have background processing with Delphi, because Delphi has a native and good support to threads. So if your application will have to do some background processing, some version updates, or even run some Python script, you will be able to do that in background. Okay, the user will not have to write on front screen all the process you are doing. And let me show you at least how we can use Python with these two little guys here. As I told you, almost everything in Delphi is a visual component, is a visual representation. Of course, if you don't like visual representation, you can use all of that in source code, but that will make you lose a very good aspect of Delphi, that is the fast application development. Okay, with these simple visual representations here, it's very simple to find the component when you need to change some property or do some tests. It's very simple to use, and once you are habituated with that, is uh, very good to use. Okay, and it's not that you will lose the ability to write code. Don't think that way. We'll write, even in Delphi, a lot of code, but for many simple tasks, many simple things to do, the visual representations are very good, are very fast to use in day-by-day basis. Okay, so with these two little guys here, a Python engine, a Python input and output, I just put these components on the screen and link them together. Here we have to integrate the Python engine with Python input output. After that, I just have to put my source code to Python engine run. Okay, I put my Python source in this Delphi unit of source code here, but you can put in even an external file. You can put as a resource inside your application. Delphi has a uh, easy control of resource file, so it will be as a binary file inside your desktop executable file. Okay, but remember, uh, don't try to download the Python code from cloud and run it locally, because some antivirus can classify that as a potential security risk. Okay, so be very careful with that. But for usually, for putting all your script inside the Delphi application, you will have no such of problem. Okay, so you, all I say is, maybe deliver the executable file with your source code. Don't try to update it online. Okay, in executable files, right? Maybe it's more safe for you, because after all, instead of that, all the the antivirus will try to block your script execution. Maybe they will even delete your executable file, right? So it's very simple to use, very simple to integrate with Python. Of course, maybe you will not use directly in form screen. You can put this process on a background process running with threads. Python engine support even with Delphi running threads. So you have other options. This is just a simple sample of what you can do. Okay, so very very simple, very very easy, even for a developer that maybe never have had any contact with Delphi. And please notice that this is not the only way to integrate Python in Delphi. Okay, we have also the option to export all the source of a Delphi application to write directly in Python code. Okay, Python for Delphi also does this, but uh, if I can suggest you, think a lot about it, because when you are working with Delphi environment, you will not lose all the productivity, all the rapid application development that Delphi is focused. Okay, Delphi has many controls that will make your development very fast. And once you ported this to all Python script, maybe some of these features you will lose. Even you generated the same application in Python, it will work just the same that we are working here, but on development time you will lose this productivity that the Delphi IDE can provide you. Okay, so think a lot of it before you do it, because in my experience, using the Delphi IDE to build all the desktop solutions, all the desktop features is very, very fast. Okay. Right, so background processing, we have simple API integrations with Delphi. I know I use many API integrations with Python, but Delphi will not lose in this situation as well. Example.com here, I can just send I get request, and after that I just have to copy these components and again a visual representation, but my Delphi application will be able to do a REST request, a GET, or a POST, and some JSON serialization as well. Of course, the JSON serialization I will have to do on my source code, but it's very simple, very easy to do. Okay, so Delphi has that too. Uh, Delphi also has the native routines to many hashes, to many other net encoding, many things, even cryptography that we may need for security reasons. I know the Python has, but I only show you here that you notice that Python are updated in these aspects as well. Okay, and we don't have to install some third-party components to do this job inside Delphi. And also zip we have. Okay, Delphi has an easy exception handling. I know that Python is easy as well. Okay, and I know that in Python we can easily deal with many exceptions, but Delphi also has some easy handler here as well. Here we can separate or deal with many kind of exceptions, and that makes a lot of easy to find bugs and deal with bugs. And Delphi has also a reports native support, so we have also a component. Everything is a component in Delphi that we can generate reports inside Delphi, and you can see here this report can be printed, can be saved as a PDF file, and we can put also graphs, we can put maps, we can put a lot of many features, and all the graph construction are done in components again. We have just to put some component here of uh, report here, and we can access that. Okay, I'll show you that later. So Delphi is also a compiled language. We can see here we have some executable files, so for many cases that's good for deploy because you don't will need to deal with scripts. I know that Python has the option to generate executable file as well, but Delphi are very small executable files. Here we have a 15 megabytes, but we can also choose the release configuration in Delphi here, and after that, if we build our system and the new version will be even smaller, we have now our executable file with 18 megabytes, so very small. And we have also security issues. So Delphi is a very security language because our sources are compiled in assembly language, and usually it's very hard to block some Delphi applications. It's not an easy way to do it. Delphi has also a very large documentation and community, so all the questions of Delphi community are now on Stack Overflow, and you can see here there are many questions, we have many answers as well. All the MVPs of Embarcadero maybe will be here answering your questions, and Delphi, of course, Python is extremely large, has a great community, and of course maybe in that case, Delphi will not have all these communities, all these features, but when it comes to all the Delphi implementations, the community is very active, is very simple to use. We have also a Reddit community and many other YouTube channels. So you will not be losing, will not be alone. Okay. And Delphi, yes, can handle scalability. Okay, we can have a very large, a very complex desktop system in Delphi, and that will be not problem for Delphi to handle, to run. Okay, so you'll be able to deploy your applications with many features and not having any problem with that. Okay, I just simply can find my report files here, but that I show you on runtime, they are installed. They are not just accessed here visually now, but I will put some samples also on GitHub, so you can deal with day-to-day report creation. Sorry for that. Okay, so Delphi can grow, your application can grow with Delphi. You don't have to deal alone with Python and all of these features. You don't have to lose all the productivity that you can uh, win with Delphi using all these uh, application environment development. Okay, this focus on rapid delivery, rapid test your applications are very good, and maybe they will fit your applications as well. Okay, so for the conclusion, I will say the many features are very hard to implement, very hard to deploy, and don't stay suffering only with Python. And if Python are maybe struggling you to deploy your desktop application, don't consider also left Python behind. Okay, just put Delphi, use Delphi as a tool to complement Python for you and bring you all the features that maybe Python don't have or are not very good, and still use all the features that you love in Python. Okay, still use all the you like in Python, because it's not the question that Delphi will replace your Python application. You simple can use the two at the same time. Okay, Delphi has also support to mobile applications, has also support to create background applications to run some API for you. So all of that are explained in other sessions in this same event, so you can go to that sessions and see. Delphi is very up to date, even has integrated to ChatGPT. We also have a session on this Python event here, so try to use it. Maybe it will fit very well on your in your day-to-day implementation, as Delphi fits on my for many years. Okay, so all the samples, all the links will be in this GitHub. Even this PPT session here, I will put there, so you can keep the links or see all the text. Right here are my contacts. If you need to ask something or something are not clear, you can just contact me for any of these channels here. Here we have the QR code to GitHub, or you can just type my name in the repo file there, and you will find. Also, I will put some notice on the report, because the component didn't show here as I planned, but you can access on my GitHub there. They will be there. Okay, so really thank you for your attention. Really thank you for you guys being here, and thanks for.
It's really good. Excellent session. I really like that session. I didn't actually know you worked for Aquasoft as well. That's a couple of people work for Aquasoft. They're pretty good people. And I also laughed as well. My favorite phrase from this, I wrote it down, was "Don't stay suffering with Python." yeah. I think that's the thing here, is that what we're really saying is that where there's difficulties with Python, you can possibly ease them with Delphi. Where there's difficulties with Delphi, you can possibly ease them with Python. And the two going together actually work pretty well. So I thought it was funny. We did get a bunch of questions, but they look to be from a spam bot or something like that, who I've now put in timeout. So well done, Mr. Spam Bot. But I thought it was very interesting, the session that you showed. Excuse me. But the point about threads as well was quite useful, I think, as well. Because Delphi's threading library is notoriously good. If once you know how to use it, then yes, you can get threads to work quite easily. It's got all sorts of things as well that other languages don't have. And some languages do have generics, for example, very, very useful. And Python's real strength is the amount of libraries that are available. There's so many things you can do with Python, and nearly every other language pales into insignificance. C#, for example, has got a lot of different capabilities, but even it can't touch Python, and despite the money that Microsoft put into it, and of course invented by the same person that invented Delphi as well, C#. So yeah, I mean, what kind of things do you think I'm probably taking you by surprise here, but what do you think are the main points that you like about the Python for Delphi kind of stuff? Is there something that particularly sticks out to you, or?
Most of the project that I work with, Ian, was projects that uses some Python data processing capabilities, and we use Delphi to complement that capability of Python to bring some interface to it.
Right.
So many companies, at least here in Brazil, where I'm working, generates data lakes, and
Right.
after that put some machine learnings instead that data lake to obtain some business logic, some business information, and of
Right.
course to show that information to high board, to manager levels. We build some Delphi applications that read that Python data and print on the screen, even through a desktop application or a mobile, as the session before, or even through a API to a third-party component, a third-party software consume it. So in this, we really already have used this integration and work very well for us here. So I'm not talking just see some example on the internet and use. No, we use for real life application that is very different when you are just trying to some samples.
Yeah. So it's not theoretical, is what you're saying. It's not, hey, in theory you can do this. You're saying for real you've done this, and it's a real benefit. Yeah, I think so too. And I've seen a few people doing things like that. The data handling capabilities of Python are very, very good. There's some very great libraries out there, and of course I can't remember any of them right now. My brain is half asleep now this afternoon, but the data science libraries that manipulate this data, and NumPy being the one that does all the large integer type stuff and things like that as well, that can be useful in statistics and a few other things. It's great. I think that it's a marriage made in heaven, and if Python, if Python gets very good at doing some of the things Delphi does, then we're in trouble. But right now, there's a few weaknesses in Python that are actually beneficial to Delphi people as well. And actually, one of the key products I work on uses PHP, and it has done this for 20 years. And it uses the PHP for the reporting. And the reason is that we wanted people to be able to go into the PHP scripts and tweak them, make them do things slightly differently to what we had decided was the right way. And it's a human resources application, and it's pretty popular. There's a couple of million people, employees in the UK, that use this, and they don't know, they just get paid. But it's quite a lot. And all the reporting is done via PHP. However, that is now. It is going to be done via Python eventually, because Python is even better at doing the things it would do, and it would still allow someone to actually go into a Python script and edit the Python script and give that kind of capability. We didn't want to put Pascal scripting in the application. We wanted it to be something that with a much broader application. We looked at VB script and said no, that was a bad idea, and we looked at a few others as well and settled on PHP at the time, which is about 2003 or something like that. So at that time Python was very popular, but the integration between the two languages was not as good, whereas there was a Delphi for PHP at the time and a few other things as well. So but yeah, I think there's a definite crossover, and I think your demos are so good. I mean, you really are very good at showing the best of these applications, and I haven't had one single person say, I want to see more of an example. No, because you've covered it all. That's always a good thing, actually.
Nice.
Sometimes when you don't get questions, it's a good thing. So it's good.
And yeah, it's very hard because sometimes I think maybe a more complex sample, but sometimes more complex sample will show away from what we are trying, is just show what you can do.
Yeah.
If we One project that comes to my mind is one that we did here in Brazil, that from Delphi we captured the cameras images and put that images to Python, process what name of car or what quantity of what amount of cars pass through that camera frame,
Uh-huh.
and after that store that information in a database. They are again back on Delphi doing this processing. So this two language integrated, Delphi dealing with hardware and database that Delphi is very good at, and
Uh-huh.
Python dealing with processing the image. That
Huh.
Python sometimes is very slow, that other language to do that, but it's very simple to do.
Yeah.
There are some libraries that you just put the image and ask Python how many cars is here, and Python give you back the answer.
It tells you it's a
And
15 and one of them's a motorbike.
in Delphi, we try to do that with neural networks, and the sources just got crazy, and we say no. In Delphi, this step we will not be able to do this time. So
Yeah.
yeah, but this kind of project sometimes maybe com- uh, conflicts to the audience. What we are trying to show, that is simple
Yeah.
samples that you really can apply on daily basis if you are working with Python nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I said when I started doing the developer relations and the developer advocacy was that I wanted to show more of what the programs can do rather than how they can do it. Because I think a lot of examples that you see in the tech world tend to be cool examples of code. Hey, look at this really cool code, and actually don't focus on the end result, which is what you can do with that code. Never mind how it does it, but what you can actually get out of it and the capabilities. And something like recognizing vehicles is something that actually comes up relatively often. Security applications, just things like parcel deliveries. Oh, there's a truck turned up to deliver our parcels, and it gets an alert somewhere. It doesn't have to be something particularly sophisticated, but I think that focusing too much on the code and not enough on the result is something that goes wrong. I think in some tech demos that the people giving the demos are too technical, and they're trying to impress their friends rather than when I say it. I mean, I've done it. I'm as bad as everybody else, but I think showing people what can be achieved is almost more important than how you achieve it sometimes as well. But like you say, complex demos sometimes are unavoidable. Sometimes you have to show something complicated to make the point about what it is that you want to show. So I don't know. It's a fine line. So we've got loads of time. We can either just sit here and talk, or we can probably play some short videos or something like that. Your next session, you're on the next session as well, aren't you? You're doing an AI video as well. Wow, you're day one hero, I think, today. Poor Priyatham, he's gone home now, so he was here as well. But and Eli gave up because everything kept crashing. It's all good. But okay, well, what I do, if I just let Martha know, our producer, who's in the background somewhere, Martha, I think what we'll do is we'll play some of the short clip videos again. Probably if we've got them uploaded, because that's the only difficult thing. I'm just waiting to see if she will type back in the chat. She might not be paying attention. So yeah, she's not going to chat right now. Okay, well, what we'll probably do is just play some clip videos rather than just stand around and talk for another 15 minutes. I mean, I think that this conference has got a lot of good features in it, and I think that the one thing that you've shown is that the user interface part of it. I like the fact that you've kind of focused on that as much as anything else, because that's the one thing wherever I go and look at a Python conference, some of the demos are like, they just don't look so good.